Arctic air is pouring into the United States right now, and in less than 48 hours, it is going to collide with moisture from the Atlantic Ocean to create one of the most powerful winter storms we have seen in years. Millions of people are about to experience blizzard conditions, record-breaking snowfall, and wind gusts strong enough to knock out power for days. But here is what most people do not know yet. The snowfall totals have been shifting, and some cities that were not expecting much snow 24 hours ago are now in the bullseye zone. I am going to tell you exactly where you stand. In the next minute, I'm going to reveal which cities just got upgraded to higher snow totals. And at the 3-minute mark, I am going to walk you through the hour-by-hour timeline for over 70 cities from the Deep South all the way to the Canadian border. Comment your location right now and I will personally respond with your specific forecast. Let me start with the science behind why this storm is so dangerous. The National Weather Service just confirmed something remarkable. They traced the origin of the air mass currently sitting over the southeastern United States, and it came from the Arctic Circle. That is not an exaggeration. The air you are feeling on your skin right now traveled thousands of miles from the top of the planet. When air that cold meets warm, moist air from the ocean, you get what meteorologists call explosive cyclogenesis. The atmospheric pressure drops rapidly. The storm intensifies in a matter of hours instead of days. And that is exactly what is about to happen off the coast of the Carolinas. Right now, winter storm warnings cover an area from the mountains of Tennessee all the way to the Atlantic coast. Winter storm watches extend from northern Georgia through Maryland. Over 50 million people are in the path of this storm, and the warnings keep expanding as the models come into better agreement. Here is what has changed in the last 12 hours. The upper-level low-pressure system has been trending slightly west. That might not sound like a big deal, but in meteorology, a 20-mile shift can be the difference between 2 inches of snow and 10 inches of snow. And that westward trend is putting more cities into what we call the divergence zone. That is the area where the atmosphere is lifting the most aggressively, where the heaviest snow bands set up, where the highest totals occur. Let me break down the timeline for you region by region, because timing is everything with this storm. The storm begins Friday night, not Saturday morning like some people think. Friday night around 10 p.m., the first snowflakes start falling in the highest elevations of Tennessee and North Carolina. The Tri-Cities area of Tennessee, you are first. Johnson City, Kingsport, Bristol. Light snow begins around 10 p.m. Friday. By midnight, it is steady. By Saturday morning at 6 a.m., you have 2 to 3 inches on the ground already. Total accumulation for the Tri-Cities, 4 to 7 inches. Peak timing, Saturday morning between 6 a.m. and noon. Knoxville, Tennessee. Your snow starts slightly later, around midnight, Friday into Saturday. Light at first, then picking up intensity. Peak for Knoxville, Saturday morning between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. Total accumulation, 3 to 5 inches. Gatlinburg and the Smoky Mountains, you are going to get hammered. Snow starts late Friday night around 11 p.m. Peak Saturday morning. Total accumulation, 6 to 10 inches. Some of the higher peaks could see 12 inches. Asheville, North Carolina. This is a significant snow event for you. Snow begins around midnight Friday into Saturday. By Saturday morning at 8 a.m., you are in moderate to heavy snow. The peak for Asheville is Saturday between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Total accumulation, 4 to 8 inches. Some areas in the higher elevations surrounding Asheville could see 10 inches. Boone, North Carolina. You are at high elevation, so you are going to see more. Snow begins late Friday night. Peak Saturday morning through early afternoon. Total accumulation, 8 to 10 inches. Wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. Blowing snow is going to create very difficult travel conditions. Now here is where things accelerate. Saturday morning, the Piedmont region of North and South Carolina gets hit, and this is where the latest model trends are critical. Charlotte, North Carolina. 24 hours ago, models were showing 4 to 6 inches for Charlotte. The latest runs are trending higher. Snow begins Saturday morning around 7 a.m. Light snow at first, but watch what happens between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Saturday. That is your peak window. During that 8-hour period, you could see sustained snowfall rates of 1 inch per hour or more. The European model is now showing 6 to 8 inches for Charlotte. The NAM model shows similar totals. My forecast: 4 to 8 inches. The higher end is looking more likely now. Wind gusts Saturday afternoon, 30 to 40 miles per hour. That combination of moderate snow and strong winds creates blowing snow and reduced visibility even before you have a lot of accumulation. Concord, Kannapolis, Gastonia. You are in the same boat as Charlotte. 4 to 8 inches with the higher end looking more probable. Rock Hill, South Carolina. You are just south of Charlotte. Snow begins Saturday morning around 8 a.m. Peak Saturday afternoon. Total, 4 to 7 inches. Now let me talk about the forecast that has been the trickiest. Columbia, South Carolina. Here is why this matters. Columbia has not seen 6 inches of snow since 2010, 16 years ago. Columbia has not seen even 3 inches of snow since before 2014. So for Columbia, even a moderate snowfall is a major, disruptive event that shuts down the entire city. Snow begins in Columbia Saturday morning around 9 a.m., flurries at first, but by 11 a.m., you are in steady snow. The peak for Columbia is Saturday afternoon and evening from noon to 9 p.m. That is 9 hours of continuous snowfall. Now here is the complication. There are 2 potential snowfall maximums setting up. One is over the upstate and Piedmont. The other is farther east toward the coast. Columbia sits right in between. The European ensemble models, which average out dozens of different scenarios, show a pocket of 6 to 8 inches forming right over Columbia. But there is uncertainty because of the dual low-pressure setup. My forecast for Columbia, 3 to 6 inches. But I need to be honest with you. There is a real possibility you could see 8 inches if everything comes together. And there is also a possibility you could see closer to 3 if a dry slot develops. Err on the side of higher totals for preparation purposes. Greenville, South Carolina, you are in a better position for snow than Columbia. Snow begins Saturday morning around 8 a.m. Peak Saturday afternoon from noon to 8 p.m. Total accumulation, 4 to 6 inches. Some heavier bands could push you to 8 inches. This is going to be a significant snow for the upstate. Spartanburg, same forecast as Greenville. 4 to 6 inches, possibly 8 in heavier bands. Anderson, South Carolina, snow begins Saturday morning around 9 a.m. Peak Saturday afternoon. Total, 3 to 5 inches. Clemson, same as Anderson, 3 to 5 inches. Lawrence, Newberry, Clinton. This corridor is showing up on models as a potential jackpot zone. 4 to 7 inches possible. Now let me jump to the coast because this is where this storm becomes truly dangerous. The Outer Banks of North Carolina. This is going to be a historic weather event for you, not just because of the snow totals, but because of the combination of heavy snow and extreme wind. We are talking about a legitimate blizzard. The technical definition of a blizzard requires sustained winds of 35 miles per hour or greater with falling or blowing snow that reduces visibility to less than a quarter mile for at least 3 hours. The Outer Banks is going to exceed that definition by a wide margin. Snow begins for the Outer Banks Saturday evening around 6 p.m. Moderate snow at first, but watch what happens overnight Saturday into Sunday. The low-pressure system bombs out just offshore. The pressure drops rapidly. The winds ramp up. By midnight Saturday, wind gusts along the Outer Banks are already hitting 40 to 50 miles per hour. By Sunday morning at 3 a.m., you are in full blizzard conditions. Wind gusts 70 to 80 miles per hour on land. Over the water, gusts could exceed 90 to 100 miles per hour. That is hurricane force. The peak of the blizzard for the Outer Banks is Sunday morning from 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. 8 hours of intense, dangerous conditions. Zero visibility. Thunder snow is very possible. Snow drifts 3 to 5 feet high. Total snowfall accumulation for Kill Devil Hills, Nag's Head, Kitty Hawk, 10 to 14 inches. Some isolated spots could see 15 inches. Manteo, you are slightly more protected but still in severe blizzard conditions. 10 to 13 inches. Wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. Now let me talk about the northeastern North Carolina coast because you are also going to get hit hard. Elizabeth City, snow begins Saturday evening around 7 p.m. Peak Sunday morning from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. Total accumulation, 8 to 12 inches. Wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. This is going to be a crippling snow for your area. Edenton, same timeline, 8 to 12 inches. Washington, North Carolina, snow begins Saturday evening around 6 p.m. Peak Sunday morning. Total, 8 to 11 inches. New Bern. Snow begins Saturday evening around 6 p.m. Peak Saturday night through Sunday morning. Total, 8 to 12 inches. Wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. Havelock and Cherry Point, same forecast, 8 to 12 inches. Morehead City and Beaufort, you are on the coast, so winds will be even stronger. Snow begins Saturday evening, peak Sunday morning. Total, 7 to 10 inches. Wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. Coastal flooding is a major concern for you. Jacksonville, North Carolina near Camp Lejeune, snow begins Saturday evening around 6 p.m. Peak Sunday morning. Total, 8 to 11 inches. Wilmington, you are farther south, so your totals will be lower. Snow begins Saturday afternoon around 3 p.m. Peak Saturday evening from 6 p.m. to midnight. Total accumulation, 4 to 6 inches. Wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. Now Raleigh. I need to spend some time on Raleigh because this forecast has been all over the map. Some models show 12 inches for Raleigh. Other models show 3 inches. Why such a huge spread? Let me explain the meteorology. We are going to have two areas of low pressure, the main coastal low that bombs out off the Outer Banks, and a secondary low that forms over Georgia and South Carolina. Sometimes these two lows work together perfectly and create a conveyor belt of moisture that dumps heavy snow. Other times, they compete with each other and create what we call a dry slot, a gap where the moisture shuts off. If the dry slot develops over Raleigh, the snow could stop for several hours in the middle of the event. That would cut your totals significantly. If the dry slot does not develop, you could easily see 8 to 12 inches. My best forecast for Raleigh based on the ensemble guidance, 3 to 6 inches, but the range is wide. Anywhere from 2 inches on the low end to 10 inches on the high end is within the realm of possibility. Snow begins for Raleigh Saturday afternoon around 2 p.m. Peak Saturday evening and overnight from 6 p.m. Saturday to 6 a.m. Sunday. Wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. Durham and Chapel Hill. Same forecast as Raleigh. 3 to 6 inches with high uncertainty. Cary. Same as Raleigh. The Triad. Winston-Salem. Greensboro. High Point. You are on the northwest edge of the heavier snow. Snow begins Saturday morning around 10 a.m. Peak Saturday afternoon and evening. Total accumulation, 2 to 4 inches. Wind gusts around 30 miles per hour. Fayetteville, North Carolina, you are south of Raleigh and closer to the coast. Snow begins Saturday afternoon around 3 p.m. Peak Saturday evening and overnight. Total accumulation, 6 to 9 inches. This is going to be a significant snow for Fayetteville. Goldsboro, you are between Raleigh and the coast. Snow begins Saturday afternoon around 4 p.m. Peak Saturday evening through Sunday morning. Total, 7 to 10 inches. Greenville, North Carolina, the eastern one near East Carolina University. Snow begins Saturday evening around 5 p.m. Peak Saturday night through Sunday morning. Total, 8 to 12 inches. Wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. Kinston, Wilson, Rocky Mount. You are all in that northeastern North Carolina zone that is trending higher. 7 to 10 inches for all of you. Now let me shift south to the rest of South Carolina. Myrtle Beach, snow begins Saturday afternoon around 2 p.m. Peak Saturday evening from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Total, 2 to 4 inches. This is a short duration event for you, but still impactful. Charleston, you are on the southern edge. Snow begins Saturday afternoon around 1 p.m. Peak Saturday evening from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Total, 1 to 3 inches. Your snow will be brief. Most of it falls in a 4 to 5 hour window. But even 2 inches is disruptive for Charleston. Florence, South Carolina. You are in a better spot for snow than Charleston. Snow begins Saturday afternoon around 2 p.m. Peak Saturday evening. Total, 5 to 8 inches. You are in the potential jackpot zone between the two snow maximums. Sumter, Marion, Mullins, same forecast, 5 to 8 inches. Conway, you are near Myrtle Beach, 3 to 5 inches. Now let me jump to Virginia because millions of people are watching from there. Richmond, this is going to be a significant snow event for you. Snow begins Saturday evening around 6 p.m. By 9 p.m., you are in steady, moderate snow. The peak for Richmond is Saturday night through early Sunday morning from 10 p.m. Saturday to 6 a.m. Sunday. Total accumulation, 4 to 7 inches. Some areas could push 8 inches. Wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. This is going to cause power outages in Richmond. The combination of moderate wet snow early before temperatures drop, followed by wind, is going to bring down tree limbs. Petersburg, Colonial Heights, Hopewell, same forecast as Richmond, 4 to 7 inches. Virginia Beach and Norfolk, you are in a completely different situation. You are on the coast where the storm intensifies. Snow begins Saturday evening around 7 p.m., but the peak does not hit until Sunday morning from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. That is when you get the heavy bands. Total accumulation for Virginia Beach and Norfolk, 8 to 12 inches. Wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. And here is the kicker: coastal flooding. The storm surge and high winds are going to push water into low-lying areas. Flooding is expected along the ocean front and in downtown Norfolk. This is a multi-hazard event for you. Hampton, Newport News, Portsmouth, same forecast, 8 to 12 inches plus coastal flooding. Chesapeake, you are slightly inland, 7 to 11 inches. Suffolk, 6 to 9 inches. Williamsburg, 5 to 8 inches. Fredericksburg, Virginia, snow begins Saturday evening around 7 p.m., peak Sunday morning. Total, 3 to 6 inches. Charlottesville, snow begins Saturday afternoon around 4 p.m., peak Saturday evening. Total, 3 to 5 inches. Lynchburg, snow begins Saturday afternoon around 3 p.m., peak Saturday evening. Total, 4 to 6 inches. Roanoke, snow begins Saturday afternoon around 2 p.m., peak Saturday evening from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Total, 3 to 5 inches. Blacksburg, you are at higher elevation, 4 to 7 inches. Now, the D.C. metro area. I need to be straight with you. This is not going to be a big snow event for Washington, D.C. The storm track is too far east. You are going to get impacts, but we are not talking about a paralyzing snowstorm. Washington, D.C. Snow begins Sunday morning around 7 a.m. Light snow mixed with flurries. The peak, and I am using that term loosely, is Sunday morning from 9 a.m. to noon. Total accumulation, 1 to 3 inches. Maybe 4 inches in the far eastern suburbs. Wind gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour. Cold and blustery, but not crippling. Alexandria, Arlington, Falls Church, same as D.C., 1 to 3 inches. Silver Spring, Bethesda, Rockville, 1 to 3 inches. But here is where it gets interesting. The farther east and south you go in the D.C. suburbs, the more snow you get. Bowie, Upper Marlboro, you are in southern Maryland where totals tick up, 3 to 5 inches. Waldorf, La Plata, you are even farther south, 4 to 6 inches. Annapolis, you are on the Chesapeake Bay, 3 to 5 inches. Baltimore, very similar to D.C. Snow begins Sunday morning around 7 a.m. Peak Sunday late morning from 9 a.m. to noon. Total, 1 to 3 inches. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. But here is the contrast. Southern Maryland and the Delmarva Peninsula are going to see significantly more. Salisbury, Maryland, snow begins Saturday evening around 8 p.m. Peak Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to noon. Total, 5 to 8 inches. You are much closer to the coastal low, so you tap into the heavier precipitation. Ocean City, Maryland. This is going to be a high-impact event. Snow begins Saturday evening around 8 p.m. Peak Sunday morning. Total, 6 to 9 inches. Wind gusts, 40 to 50 miles per hour. Beach erosion and coastal flooding are going to be major issues. Waves could exceed 15 feet. Do not go near the beach during the peak of the storm. Cambridge, Easton, you are on the Delmarva, 4 to 7 inches. Delaware, let me break it down for you. Dover, snow begins Sunday morning around 6 a.m. Peak Sunday mid-morning from 8 a.m. to noon. Total, 3 to 5 inches. Wilmington, Delaware, you are the farthest north in the state. Snow begins Sunday morning around 7 a.m. Peak Sunday late morning. Total, 3 to 5 inches. Rehoboth Beach, Dewey Beach, Bethany Beach. You are on the coast. Snow begins Saturday evening around 8 p.m. Peak Sunday morning. Total, 5 to 8 inches. Coastal flooding expected. Now Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, the city is not going to get hit hard. Snow begins Sunday morning around 8 a.m. Peak Sunday late morning to early afternoon from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Total accumulation, 2 to 4 inches. Wind gusts around 30 miles per hour. Enough to disrupt travel but not catastrophic. But here is the key. Southeast New Jersey near the coast is a totally different story. Atlantic City. You are in what we call a deformation zone. That is where the storm structure creates a band of very heavy precipitation. Snow begins Sunday morning around 6 a.m. Peak Sunday morning through early afternoon from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Total accumulation, 6 to 10 inches. Some areas could push 12 inches if a particularly heavy band sets up. Wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. This is going to be a serious event for Atlantic City. Cape May, Ocean City, New Jersey, Wildwood, same forecast, 6 to 10 inches. Vineland, Millville, you are slightly inland, 5 to 8 inches. Trenton, New Jersey, snow begins Sunday morning around 7 a.m. Peak Sunday late morning, total 3 to 5 inches. Newark, Jersey City, you are in the New York City metro. Snow begins Sunday morning around 8 a.m. Peak Sunday late morning to early afternoon. Total 2 to 4 inches. Now New York City. The 5 boroughs are on the western edge of this storm. Snow begins Sunday morning around 9 a.m. Light snow at first. Peak Sunday late morning through early afternoon from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Total accumulation for Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, 1 to 3 inches. Maybe 4 inches in the eastern sections of Queens and Brooklyn. This is not going to be a major snow event for the city. But travel will be impacted. Wind gusts 35 to 40 miles per hour, especially along the waterfront and bridges. But Long Island, you are going to see more. Western Long Island, Nassau County. Snow begins Sunday morning around 8 a.m. Peak Sunday late morning through afternoon. Total 3 to 5 inches. Eastern Long Island, Suffolk County, you extend out into the Atlantic. Snow begins Sunday morning around 8 a.m. Peak Sunday late morning through afternoon. Total 5 to 8 inches. The farther east you go, the more you get. Montauk could see 8 to 10 inches. Now New England. This is boom or bust territory. Some of you are going to get absolutely buried. Others are going to see almost nothing. Cape Cod, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, prepare for a historic blizzard. This is not an exaggeration. Snow begins Sunday morning around 9 a.m., but you are not going to get a quick hit and move scenario. You are going to be locked in heavy snow and extreme winds for most of Sunday. Peak intensity for Cape Cod is Sunday late morning through evening from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. That is 8 hours of blizzard conditions. Sustained winds 35 to 45 miles per hour with gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. Hurricane force winds, thunder snow very likely, lightning from snowstorms. Total accumulation 12 to 18 inches. Some areas, particularly the Outer Cape and Nantucket, could see 20 inches. Snow drifts 5 to 8 feet high. Power outages expected. This is an extremely dangerous situation. Hyannis, Falmouth, Barnstable, Provincetown, all of you are in this. 12 to 18 inches. Blizzard warnings will be in effect. Southeastern Massachusetts, you are in a similar boat. New Bedford, Fall River, snow begins Sunday morning around 9 a.m. Peak Sunday late morning through afternoon. Total 10 to 15 inches. Wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. Blizzard conditions likely. Providence, Rhode Island, you are on the cutoff line. Snow begins Sunday morning around 9 a.m. Peak Sunday late morning through afternoon from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. If the storm tracks 20 miles west, you could see 10 plus. If it stays on the current track, you will be on the lower end. Wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. Boston, this is the toughest call in the entire forecast. You are right on the sharp gradient between heavy snow and light snow. Snow begins Sunday morning around 10 a.m., peak Sunday late morning through early afternoon from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. The European model keeps the heavy snow south and east of you. That would give Boston 4 to 6 inches. The GFS model brings a heavier band right over the city. That would give you 8 to 12 inches. The ensemble mean, which averages many scenarios, shows 6 to 7 inches. That is my forecast for Boston, 4 to 8 inches. But please understand, this could easily go higher or lower depending on small shifts in the storm track. Wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour regardless. Worcester, you are inland and at higher elevation, 5 to 9 inches. Springfield, Massachusetts, you are in western Mass on the fringe, 3 to 6 inches. Hartford, Connecticut, snow begins Sunday morning around 9 a.m., peak Sunday late morning through early afternoon, total 3 to 6 inches. New Haven, Bridgeport, you are closer to the coast, 4 to 7 inches. Stamford, Norwalk, you are in the New York City metro influence, 3 to 6 inches. Now Maine. Portland, snow begins Sunday around 10:30 a.m. Peak Sunday afternoon from noon to 5 p.m. Total, 4 to 7 inches. Wind gusts 40 to 45 miles per hour. Down East Maine, this is where totals increase as you go east. Bangor, snow begins Sunday morning around 11 a.m. Peak Sunday afternoon through evening. Total, 4 to 8 inches. Bar Harbor, you are on the coast, 6 to 10 inches. Wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. Eastport, Machias, you are in far eastern Maine, 7 to 12 inches. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. And Canada. Halifax, Nova Scotia, you are going to get destroyed by this storm. Snow begins Sunday afternoon around 1 p.m. Peak Sunday evening through Monday morning. Total accumulation, 12 to 20 inches. Wind gusts, 70 to 80 miles per hour. This will be a crippling blizzard for Halifax. Travel will be impossible. Power outages widespread. Now let me rapid fire through more locations to get over 70 cities. Lexington, Kentucky, 1 to 2 inches. Saturday. Louisville, Kentucky, trace to 1 inch, Saturday. Cincinnati, Ohio, trace amounts, Saturday. Columbus, Ohio, trace to 1 inch, Sunday. Athens, Georgia, 1 to 2 inches, Saturday afternoon. Atlanta, Georgia, 1 to 3 inches, Saturday evening. You are under a winter storm watch. Gainesville, Georgia, 2 to 4 inches, Saturday. Augusta, Georgia, 1 to 3 inches, Saturday evening. Savannah, Georgia, 1 to 2 inches, Saturday evening. Beaufort, South Carolina, 1 to 2 inches, Saturday evening. Hilton Head, South Carolina, trace to 1 inch, Saturday evening. Aiken, South Carolina, 2 to 4 inches, Saturday. Orangeburg, South Carolina, 3 to 5 inches, Saturday evening. Camden, South Carolina, 3 to 5 inches, Saturday evening. Bennettsville, South Carolina, 5 to 7 inches, Saturday evening. Dillon, South Carolina, 4 to 6 inches, Saturday evening. Conway, South Carolina, 3 to 5 inches, Saturday evening. Georgetown, South Carolina, 2 to 4 inches, Saturday evening. Lumberton, North Carolina, 6 to 8 inches, Saturday evening. Whiteville, North Carolina, 5 to 7 inches, Saturday evening. Elizabethtown, North Carolina, 6 to 8 inches, Saturday evening. Smithfield, North Carolina, 6 to 9 inches, Saturday evening. Hagerstown, Maryland, 1 to 3 inches, Sunday morning. Frederick, Maryland, 1 to 3 inches, Sunday morning. Winchester, Virginia, 2 to 3 inches, Saturday evening. Front Royal, Virginia, 2 to 4 inches, Saturday evening. Culpeper, Virginia, 3 to 5 inches, Saturday evening. Warrenton, Virginia, 3 to 5 inches, Saturday evening. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, 2 to 4 inches, Sunday morning. Lancaster, Pennsylvania, 2 to 4 inches, Sunday morning. Reading, Pennsylvania, 2 to 4 inches, Sunday morning. Allentown, Pennsylvania, 3 to 5 inches, Sunday morning. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, 3 to 5 inches, Sunday morning. Scranton, Pennsylvania, 3 to 5 inches, Sunday morning. Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, 3 to 5 inches, Sunday morning. Waterbury, Connecticut, 3 to 6 inches, Sunday morning. Danbury, Connecticut, 3 to 6 inches, Sunday morning. Manchester, New Hampshire, 4 to 7 inches, Sunday afternoon. Nashua, New Hampshire, 4 to 7 inches, Sunday afternoon. Concord, New Hampshire, 3 to 6 inches, Sunday afternoon. Portsmouth, New Hampshire, 5 to 9 inches, Sunday morning through afternoon. Lewiston, Maine, 3 to 6 inches, Sunday. Augusta, Maine, 4 to 7 inches, Sunday. Burlington, Vermont, 1 to 3 inches. Sunday afternoon. Montpelier, Vermont, 2 to 4 inches, Sunday afternoon. Rutland, Vermont, 2 to 4 inches. Sunday afternoon. Albany, New York, 2 to 4 inches. Sunday morning. Schenectady, New York, 2 to 4 inches, Sunday morning. Troy, New York, 2 to 4 inches, Sunday morning. Syracuse, New York, 1 to 3 inches, Sunday. Utica, New York, 1 to 3 inches, Sunday. Rochester, New York, trace to 1 inch, Sunday. Buffalo, New York, no accumulation expected. Ithaca, New York, 2 to 4 inches, Sunday. Binghamton, New York, 2 to 4 inches, Sunday. Now let me talk about temperatures because the cold is going to be just as impactful as the snow. Saturday morning when the snow is falling across the Carolinas, temperatures are going to be in the teens across Charlotte and the Triad. Mid-20s in Columbia, upper 20s in Charleston, below freezing all the way to the coast. This is why the snow is going to be so dry and fluffy. Arctic air in place. This is not going to be wet, heavy snow. This is powder, the kind of snow that blows around in the wind. The kind that creates whiteout conditions even with just a few inches on the ground. Sunday morning, temperatures are going to be brutal across the entire eastern United States. Charlotte, 15 degrees. Wind chill, 5 degrees. Columbia, 20 degrees. Wind chill, 10 degrees. Raleigh, 18 degrees. Wind chill, 8 degrees. Richmond, 20 degrees. Wind chill, 10 degrees. Norfolk, 22 degrees. Wind chill, 12 degrees. Washington, D.C., 24 degrees. Wind chill, 15 degrees. Baltimore, 23 degrees. Wind chill, 14 degrees. Philadelphia, 25 degrees. Wind chill, 16 degrees. New York City, 27 degrees. Wind chill, 18 degrees. Boston, 28 degrees. Wind chill, 20 degrees. The Great Lakes and Ohio Valley are going to see dangerous cold. Indianapolis, 2 degrees. Wind chill, -10 degrees. Columbus, 4 degrees. Wind chill, -8 degrees. Cleveland, 0 degrees. Wind chill, -15 degrees. Detroit, -2 degrees. Wind chill, -18 degrees. Chicago, 5 degrees. Wind chill, -8 degrees. Frostbite can occur in less than 30 minutes with these wind chills. This is dangerous, life-threatening cold for anyone exposed. Now, when does the warmth return? For most of the East Coast, not anytime soon. The pattern remains locked. Cold air continues to pour down from Canada. The interior South and the Mississippi Valley will moderate back to normal by the middle of next week. But coastal areas from the Carolinas through New England, you are staying cold for at least another 10 days. Here is what you need to do right now. If you are in the impact zone, prepare today. Do not wait until Saturday morning. Stock up on food, water, batteries, flashlights. Fill your car with gas. Charge all your devices. Check on elderly neighbors. Bring pets inside. Protect any outdoor plants or pipes that could freeze. Do not travel Saturday night through Sunday unless it is absolutely emergency. The combination of snow and wind is going to create whiteout conditions. Visibility will drop to 0 at times. Even if your area is only forecast to get 3 or 4 inches, the blowing snow makes it extremely dangerous. If you are in the blizzard warning areas, the Outer Banks and Cape Cod specifically, take this very seriously. This is a life-threatening situation during the peak of the storm. Do not go outside. Do not attempt to drive. Stock up now and hunker down. Comment your city below and I will respond with additional details. Share this with anyone who needs to see it. And here is what I am tracking for next week that you need to know about. Another storm system is showing up in the extended models early next week. Another potential snow event for the East Coast. I am going to have a full breakdown in my next video. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. This pattern is extremely active and you need to stay informed. The next 48 hours are critical. Be prepared. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next update.